Hey everyone, it's Mark Hespin here, host of On the Mark on News Talk 1070 KHMO and the KHMO app, and it is time for our post-Week 16 NFL Power Rankings on this Wednesday, December 27th. Also, it's a breaking news. We'll get to that at the end of the video. Russell Wilson getting benched, Jacoby Brissett replacing Howell as well in Washington. What that all means and why it's great news for the Bears. I'm telling you, great news for the Bears if the Bears listen to me and do the right thing. We'll get to all of that. As always, like and subscribe here on the YouTube channel at Mark Hespin. Follow me on X, on Instagram at Mark Hespin, MarkHespen. You can listen to the show every Saturday morning on News Talk 1070 KHMO. Just tune in, download the free KHMO app, or just follow the show on the Mark KHMO on Facebook. You can download the podcast on Apple Podcasts. Just search On the Mark. So let's jump into it. Week 16 of the NFL Power Rankings. Start at number 10 and work our way up, shall we? Welcome back to the Power Rankings for the first time in a couple weeks. The Los Angeles Rams, as the owner of Jerry Jones of the Cowboys would say, Los Angeles. The Rams back into the Power Rankings at number 10. This Rams team is not the same Rams team that got blown out by the Cowboys earlier this year. This Rams team is the Rams team that went toe-to-toe with the Baltimore Ravens 2 weeks ago and nearly beat them in Baltimore. Listen, what I like so much about the Rams is that Matt Stafford is healthy and he is got his weapons. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Tyler Higbee, the tight end, they are all on the same page. This Rams team looks good. The young defense is kind of coming into form. The Rams are the team in the NFC playoffs that none of the division winners are going to want to play. And I'll just say this. They have 2 games in front of them. They have a chance week 18 to beat the Niners. That's going to be a fascinating game. I'm very, very high on the Rams right now. I capped them off at 10. We'll wait and see how they handle these last 2 weeks. But the Rams absolutely could be a big spoiler in the NFC playoffs. Bucks move up a spot to number 9 in the Power Rankings. How do you not love this Baker Mayfield story? Baker Mayfield, former number 1 overall pick, cast aside by the Browns. The Browns spent all this money on Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson has been just not good at all in his 2 years in a Browns uniform. In fact, Jacoby Brissett played better than him last year, and now Joe Flacco's playing better than him this year. But Baker finds his way to Carolina. It's a disaster. Carolina's just a disaster. Maybe his career's over. Gets a little bit of life with that Rams stint with Sean McVay last year. It's like, all right, maybe he can still play. It's not just how bad Carolina's been. And look what he's done in Tampa. He's been phenomenal the last couple of weeks. Him and Mike Evans, he is the Geno Smith of this year, which means I don't think there's any reason right now not to believe that the Bucks could win the division, and the Baker Mayfield will get himself a nice little contract from Tampa to stay there for a while. Congrats to him. Congrats to the Bucks. I'm rooting for the Bucks and Baker to win out here, win this division, and host a home playoff game. I think that's just going to be an incredible story. Browns at number 8. Speaking of the Browns, Joe Flacco. Listen, the Cleveland Browns right now, I may have them too low on this list. The way they're playing football right now, I know we just got to get it out of our heads that Joe Flacco is off the couch to leading this team to a playoff run. They are a legitimate force in the AFC right now. If you was Cleveland, versus team like Kansas City in Cleveland or in Kansas City, I think that's a toss-up. I think that's a pick-em game. And that's just how incredible this story has been. The Browns' defense is for real. And what I love so much about Joe Flacco is he fits Kevin Stefanski's offense really well. Deep shots with Amari Cooper, hitting the tight end over the middle. David Njoku is now looking like a top 5 tight end. He hasn't looked that way since his rookie year. And it's all thanks to Joe Flacco and the way he's playing football. Browns at number 8. Chiefs at number 7. Yeah, right now I had to drop the Chiefs majorly. They're the biggest fallers on the chart right now. They went from 3 to 7 with that loss. That's an embarrassing bad loss. I propose, and it's something I'll talk about probably more on the show on Saturday. There is no team in the NFL right now that needs Marvin Harrison Jr. more than the Kansas City Chiefs. And if I was the Kansas City Chiefs, I would do anything and everything in my power to trade for Marvin Harrison Jr. this offseason, to get the trade to pick to go get Marvin Harrison Jr. If you're the Chiefs, how do you not offer Chris Jones and 3 future first-round picks to the Chicago Bears or to the Arizona Cardinals to have the right to choose and draft Marvin Harrison Jr.? You have to do it. I mean, they need an elite weapon. They are an elite weapon away from once again being a Super Bowl contender. When's the last time you saw Patrick Mahomes complete a 40-yard bomb? Just in the air, over the top, seam route, go route. It doesn't happen. This Chiefs offense doesn't have it. This Chiefs offense is all about screens and quick little bubble things along the line of scrimmage and then trying to get in their playmakers' hands and make a guy miss. Not only they're not making guys miss, they're not even catching the ball. It's bad in Kansas City. People who are hating on the whole Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing, Travis Kelce, if you're watching the games, he's not the problem. He really isn't. He's lost a step. He's still leading the league, I think, in tight end receiving yards or near the top. He's not the problem. They need an elite weapon on the outside. The Kansas City Chiefs falling down to 7. Buffalo Bills, I'll put them ahead of Kansas City at number 6. They beat Kansas City head-to-head. That's part of why the Bills get the go-ahead. Listen, the Bills had an ugly win. I'm not taking too much about that Bills near win over the Chargers. The Chargers absolutely pulled a mutiny. What do they call it on a pirate ship? Literally, the crew mutinied against the captain. They got their coach fired, and then they came and they tried and like heck to ball out and win a football game. And the Bills, who absolutely did what they had to do, is just win the game, took care of business. They withstood the big early hit from them. They were down. They didn't let the game get out of hand. They slowly called their way back, take the lead, and then they hung on for dear life. I still expect the Bills to win this week and to be battling for the division in the final week in Week 18. Philadelphia Eagles, they move up a couple spots to number 5. You want to talk about how the fact that the Giants got back in that game, fine. I don't really think that there's much to that to overreact to, I guess I would say, except for the fact that offensively, this Eagles team still doesn't look right. This Eagles team was built early on in the season on running the football and explosive plays down the field. And right now, it just feels like everything is a half a second off down the field in their passing game. And their run game, while fun and explosive, in the red zone, it's all Jalen Hurts or nothing right now. 15 touchdowns. He's been incredible. The Eagles, I feel good about the Eagles. I feel like they're getting things right. They got 2 more weeks. Should be 2 easy victories to possibly still stay alive for the 1 seed, run the table, and give themselves the division and settle into the playoffs playing games at home. Eagles, the ceiling is starting to get back up there. You know what I mean? They're starting to increase their ceiling again after a disastrous 3-game skid. Dolphins at number 4. I don't love that the Dolphins are this high. I wasn't that impressed with the win over Dallas. I'll say this about the Dolphins. They're one of maybe only 3-4 teams in the NFL right now I can say, hey, if you need them to score points, I still trust them to be able to score points, whether it's kicking a bunch of field goals or actually putting up 70 like they did against the Broncos this year. The Dolphins' offense is something that I think is still to be reckoned with at this point in time. Listen, do I think they can beat the Ravens this week? I don't. And I think then they lose to the Bills and end up in the wild card. On a 2-game skid, it's going to be a really tough sledding for the Dolphins. But right now, they've earned the right to be number 4. Can they knock off the Ravens and prove everyone wrong? That's going to be the absolute game of the week this week, and we'll talk about it all show long on Saturday. Tune in Saturday morning on the Mark News Talk 1070 KHMO. The Detroit Lions in the number 3 spot. Yeah, listen, celebrate. Pop the champagne if you're Detroit. You haven't won a division in 30 years. You've earned the right to celebrate. You've earned the right to be high on this team. I think the Detroit Lions right now absolutely could be playing in an NFC Championship game. I think the Lions win out. And if the Rams beat the Niners in Week 18 and the Lions win out, even if the Eagles win out, the Detroit Lions are going to end up with the number 1 overall seed. That is a real possibility. I'm telling you, a real possibility. It's not a pipe dream. Rams win out, Lions win out, Rams could end up with the number 1 overall seed. I mean, the Lions could end up with the number 1 overall seed. And the Lions' home playoff games all through Ford Field, that is going to be a really tough place to win. Those fans are going to be incredible. It's going to be an incredible sight to see. Niners at number 2, they take a step back after losing to the Ravens. Listen, it's not that the Niners lost to the Ravens. It's the way in which they lost. They got punched in the mouth. The physical team in the NFL got punched in the mouth, and they could not respond. They didn't have any sort of response. And especially the way they started the game off with the safety, with the 5-0 lead, the ref. I mean, it just the 3-3 announced from the Ravens, and the Niners just let the Ravens stand up and just nothing but shot after shot after shot after shot, and then no punchback. Brock Purdy looked bad. I said it. I was tweeting it all game long. The lights looked too bright. If you follow me on X at Mark Hespin, you saw that I tweeted out before that game, Ravens money line parlay with the Lamar Jackson over 200 yards and Lamar Jackson 2 touchdown passes, cashed. I had a feeling about that game. I didn't trust the Niners. If you listened to this show last Saturday, you know it. I think the Niners still have a ceiling that is a Super Bowl, right? But if you're a Niners fan and you're playing the Ravens in the Super Bowl, there's no reason you should feel confident, because the Ravens can gang tackle. They can stop, those little quick plays turning into big plays. And that is so much what the Niners rely on with Brock Purdy. Niners are 2, still a great football team, still very capable of making the Super Bowl, winning a Super Bowl. But they don't deserve the number 1 spot. The number 1 spot belongs to the Baltimore Ravens. Only the 4th team to hit the number 1 spot in the power rankings this year, with the Eagles, Chiefs, and Niners. Congrats to the Ravens. Nothing more to say. They were fantastic. Starting that game with 3 and outs, down 5-0, for them to just get up and pummel the Niners the way they did, impressive. The Baltimore Ravens are the best team in football right now. And to be honest, I don't think there is a team in the AFC today that deserves to be in the same category with the Baltimore Ravens. Just crazy to think about. But if you look at the AFC as a whole, now listen, the Dolphins can prove us wrong upcoming in Week 17, but the Ravens have a chance, especially if they beat up the Dolphins the way they beat up the Niners. Whew. Ravens deserved Super Bowl favorites. All right, quickly, just want to talk about the fact that Russell Wilson got benched, Sam Howell got benched. They're going with Jacoby Brissett and Jarrett Stidham. I'm going to talk a ton about this on the show Saturday morning, so tune in, News Talk 1070 KHMO. Follow the show on the Mark KHMO on Facebook. But my initial thoughts are, first off, the only way the Denver Broncos made this move is if the ownership, coach, and GM were all on the same page. Only way they make that move, right? And so that tells me that they're going to do everything in their power to find a new quarterback for Sean Payton going into next year. Russell Wilson may still be on the team. That might just be through the draft, and they draft a quarterback and Russell starts, and they have to do another year of this. It'll give the kid a chance, then eventually takes over for Russell. But it just goes to show you the Broncos are now going to be players in the quarterback market, whether it's in the trade or whether it's in the draft. That's huge news. And same thing with the Washington Commanders. The only way you bench Sam Howell is if the owners, the new ownership group, and the GM basically feel like it's time. Most important thing for us is to do is to lose games, and for us to know that we've moved on from Sam Howell. He's not going to be our guy. We're going to lock up a top 3 pick here. That is gigantic news for one team. That team, the Chicago Bears. Yeah, the draft is going to go through Chicago once again. If you are the Kansas City Chiefs and you want Marvin Harrison Jr., if you are the Denver Broncos, if you are the Washington Commanders, if you're the New York Giants, the Atlanta Falcons, the New Orleans Saints, the Vegas Raiders, if you are any team that is desperate for your choice at quarterback, or you want to beat the Cardinals to Marvin Harrison Jr., and you want that weapon, and you don't want the Cardinals to get it, you have one team to call. Bear down. Take the calls, Ryan Pace. We'll talk about it more Saturday morning on the Mark News Talk 1070 KHMO, the KHMO app. Follow me on X and Instagram at Mark Hespin. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll see you next week.